Yo, what up, though? What's the deal, family? What's going on? How y'all feeling? How was the week? How are things? Genuinely asking that. How are things? Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what's going on. Listen, welcome to another episode of the Stay Focused podcast, where the goal is to keep you focused on becoming the best you while staying in faith. I'm your host, Austin G. Morgan, and it's a pleasure and an honor to be before you again to help you to get to your goals, your dreams, your aspirations, and the life that you're truly trying to manifest and make a reality. Let's get the preliminaries out of the way. Want to ask that you like, comment, subscribe, share this with your family and friends so that they will be blessed as well. And turn those post notification bells on so that way you know every time I drop something new. I say this every week, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful for you all for just being here with me. Episode 10. So episode 10 is technically 60 episodes total. It's a milestone. Clap it up for yourselves. That's amazing. I appreciate each and every one of you for just tuning in, whether it be for 5 minutes, 30 seconds, the whole episode, just hearing me out in general. I really appreciate it. I didn't really have much else to say as far as the preliminaries, so we're going to get right to the episode. Today's episode, I want to talk about survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt. That's what I want to talk about. One thing that I said in the beginning of this season was how we would go through different things together. Meaning going through the good times, the bad, the ups and the downs, the whole nine. For season 3, I wanted to be more transparent, wanted to be more vulnerable about different things, simply because this is how you get to know the person that you are listening to. It's not easy always being in these positions. Meaning being able to share what God needs me to share, what I believe God wants me to share with you all to help you to get to the places that you need to get to. Because life still be happening. Life still be lifing. In fact, this is something that I actually have said a few times, that life be lifing, right? But God be guiding. You know, the devil be working, but God is always putting in overtime on our behalf. And the level of gratitude and thankfulness that I have is amazing. Think about this. God loves you in spite of you. Really sit with that and reflect and think on times where you haven't been at your best. You haven't felt your best. May have not looked your best. And God still saw you. God still wanted the best for you, provided the best for you, even if you couldn't see it. The Lord tends to, at least from my own personal experience, provide you with everything that you need in an unconventional way. It's not always traditional. Because if it was traditional, then everybody would recognize it. And sometimes you go through certain seasons in your life, and the way that they happen helps you to understand that this couldn't have been nobody but the Lord. Sometimes God's protection or rejection, I would say, is his redirection and protection for you. He sees something down the line that you don't see, or senses something that you can't sense, and he goes ahead of you and he prepares for you to be able to handle what it is that needs to be handled. The day that I'm recording this, very heavy day, emotionally. And really this whole week, it's just been eye-opening. To the point where it has me thinking about survivor's guilt. There is, when you think of survivor's guilt, or when I think of it, being a survivor of anything is a blessing, right? But there comes a certain level of guilt, for lack of a better term, that comes with that knowing that you survived. There have been people that I went to high school with who unfortunately passed away, no longer here on this earth. There are people who haven't necessarily experienced the things that I've been able to experience in life. They just, it's just, they couldn't quite grasp it. And some of them ended their own lives. And it's unfortunate because the show, well, not even the show, but like life continues to press forward. Life continues to go forward. Even in a career, even in life itself, anything that you're going through, you can experience survivor's guilt at any point. At first, I didn't know what I wanted to call this episode. I actually sat here for about 5 minutes contemplating it. I was going to call it Untitled, just because I just really wanted to talk today. Just wanted to just be raw, just be transparent, just be real, authentic. Not to say that I haven't been before, but this probably will be the most vulnerable episode yet that I record, and that you guys will be able to see. And I'm doing it this way because I've been telling y'all for a minute that leadership determines direction. We know this by now. We understand it. We apply it and all of that. But sometimes even the leader has his moments, her moments. Sometimes the leader is unsure about certain things, and sometimes you just be winging it. This whole season has been strategic. It has been planned out, each episode, whether that be coming from the title or actually writing down an outline of the things that you want to share, all of that. But the biggest thing for me this season was really just to provide insight more of who I am, what it is that I do, and also the things that I deal with, things that I grow through. Y'all forgive me for the pauses. It's been a long week. It's been a long week. And with the survival's guilt, one thing that I am reminded of is that you are still here. That's the whole purpose of being a survivor. We know plenty of people who survive from cancer to, they ring the bell when they complete, their chemotherapy and things of that nature. I would imagine, and I can't feel them on this, but I can understand and at least try to, that when they ring the bell, knowing that they survived, knowing that they went through chemo and all of the things are good, there's probably a certain level of guilt that they may face or that they may experience, considering some of the things that they lost. Maybe their hair, maybe weight, maybe the people around them. Not everybody is able and willing to come with you to different seasons of your life and allow you to just be. These past 3 years Keep rolling, Pops. Just keep rolling. These past 3 years have been a lot. A lot for obedience sake. A lot for just lining up and trusting God through it all. Some people don't make it to this side. Some people give up. And throw in the towel before God can really show up and show out on their behalf. And there have been a couple times in my life where that has happened. Where it almost happened, let me say. I shared with y'all before how when I was like 16, like I think it was the first episode actually, when I was resetting the foundation, I shared my testimony again. And I was talking about how being able to be before y'all 16 years later and to just know that God has been with me is a lot. Keep rolling, Pop. Somebody just grab some paper towel. All right. Put this over here. Y'all bear with me. Check my nose real quick, I can't be having no boogers on here, you feel me? No snot bubbles or nothing. Alright, cool. Survivor's guilt. It's funny. Being disobedient, as long as when you walk into a season of disobedience, unknowingly, what tends to happen is that you get to this place where you do realize you do know it because you're shifting from disobedience to obedience. And when that happens, everything that you either experience or went through, it becomes 2020, hindsight at least. That's pretty much what this season of my life has been these past 3 years. And when I say it's been a lot, it's truly been a lot. You heard a little bit of it in season 2, but the fact that you guys can see me on camera and you can just feel the raw emotion of everything, it's real out here. And the goal is to continue to show up. I think that's the biggest blessing that I can provide, at least in this episode. Outside of the gems that I drop, outside of the bars that I that I release, the word that I give, all of that. The Bible talks about how God is a very present help in the time of trouble, or in your time of need. I've relied heavily on the Lord more in this season of my life than any other season of my life. Even back in when I was 16, going through the things that I was going through, severely depressed, contemplating suicide, the whole nine. Because I'm like, Lord, why me? Why am I going through this? Why? I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. And what I had to realize is, as you get older, you look back Some people don't make it. Some people throw in the towel. Some people, for lack of a better term, don't fight. But one thing that God has given Austin is the ability to fight. To push through everything that happens. Now, it's funny, y'all probably wondering, like, bro, why are you so emotional like this episode? Because I can sense the change that I've been looking for coming more and more finally than ever before. Like, I've been looking for this type of change, this type of transition, these shifts, these transformations. I've been looking for these for a minute. And really just like asking God, like, when is it going to be my turn? I see everybody else around me getting blessed. Not going to lie to you. Not jealous of anybody or envious of what it is that they're doing. I promise I'm not. But there are times where I'm like, at some point, something got to shake. At some point. Sometimes it'd be like, all right, Lord, what is it that I'm doing wrong? Or what is it that I'm not doing? Sometimes it could just be a patient game. I think I just told y'all the last episode, let patience have her perfect work, making you whole and entire, wanting nothing or lacking nothing. It's a real thing. So sometimes there's this level of guilt that I experience being a survivor of a lot of things. Being a survivor of having Crohn's disease. Being a survivor of having ulcers. Being a survivor of depression. You got 5 stages of grief. Denial. Let me see. I know them by heart because I've experienced all of them. Here we go. Denial. Then there's anger. Bargaining. Depression. And acceptance. A lot of people sit in stage 4, the depressed state, because they can't get past having a certain illness. They can't get past losing a certain loved one. They can't get past having to remove themselves from a relationship or having a relationship to be broken apart. They have a hard time with leaving the job that actually carried them as long as it has. They have a hard time with moving to a new space or to a new state or to a new city that's completely unfamiliar, that they've never been in, and all of the things in between. And when those things happen, you just have to continue to adjust, continue to adapt. I just told y'all last episode how life is like a heartbeat and it's filled with ups and downs. Life is the exact same way. One of the downs that you will face or that you can face is this thing called survivor's guilt. And there's a certain level of guilt that like sits in the heart where you want those around you to be able to experience or feel what it is that you're feeling. But, they don't have the capacity at times, or maybe they just don't have the wherewithal or the knowing to know what it is that you're going through. And then when you actually get through it and you pass it and you survive it, sometimes some of those people you have to leave in those same spaces. That could also be a thing of survivor's guilt. Like when you go through the process of the obstacles, the hurdles, the challenges, and all the things that you face, and you get to a certain level, and you realize that some of those people that were right here want to stay here. No matter how much you try to lift them up, they want to stay here. You got to keep going. You just got to keep going. You got to keep going to a place where things just will get better. You'll get new people. You'll get new places to go to. You'll get new friends. You'll get new things. You'll get new insight. You'll get new perspective. You'll get a new mindset. You'll be able to adapt better. Your emotions will get stronger and healthier. Your mental state gets better. Socially, financially, you become better. All of these things are important. And for me, this is a very tough season. But I'm going to tell you why it's a tough season. Because I know what's coming on the other side of it. What's coming on the other side of it is a version of me that I've never met before. A version of me that has been stirring and pouring, like, brewing in me for years, waiting to be released. This season of my life, as it was recently revealed to me, that this is the dying off season. This is the season where I finally rid myself of things that I kind of been going through since 2019. 6 years in the game now. Now, it was really heavy in 2022, going up until now, because this has been an obedient theme that I've been going through. Again, obedience is better than sacrifice, even if you have to sacrifice for the sake of obedience. The mantle that God has charged me with, what I want to say, the power, the responsibility that God has provided me with is a lot. And all you can do is take it minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. You just take it one step at a time. I think it's interesting when you see other people and they don't always go through what you go through. We often joke about being on God's tough soldier list. And let me tell you, I'm definitely tired of being on that list. But I also wouldn't change it for the world, because I know that God entrusts me with suffering. If God can trust you with blessing, that means he can trust you with suffering as well. In order to really understand that, just look at the story of Job in the Bible. He lost everything. And God restored everything at the end tenfold. Restored everything, gave him double for his trouble. What are you willing to go through for the Lord? What are you willing to go through for Christ's sake? What are you willing to go through to break generational curses, to fix the bloodline? What are you willing to sacrifice to make sure that the next generation that's coming after you won't have to deal with or go through what it is that you may be currently going through? That's the real question. See, when you answer these questions, when you get these answers, when you provide these solutions, the warfare gets tougher. Because, again, I mentioned this too, you got two kingdoms, God and the devil's. If you're not rocking with God, you're automatically heading in the direction of where the enemy is. And this is something else that I want to bring to y'all attention, so that y'all understand that I promise I'm fine. Men have emotions. We should be able to clearly exercise them without being weaponized. Let me point that out real quick. To my men, my black men specifically, fellas, it's okay to cry. It's okay to release. I don't care what nobody say, man. Like, forget what this world is telling you and all that stuff. Crying is one of the healthiest emotional releases that you can experience. Because life has taught us, and pretty much the world, families, whoever, taught us that, we always need to be your like, just rah rah, like hold everything in. I don't really talk about relationships too much, but I see this quite often. This idea within our community, this idea within my generation specifically, how we grow up not being able to open up the way that we need to. Not speaking me specifically, because obviously, if I'm tearing up on camera, okay, that means I know how to like healthily release, okay? But a lot of people don't have this privilege. A lot of people don't have this opportunity. And so when they find something like this where they can resonate with what a man is sharing, and we can keep it a stack, we can lock in as bros and be like, yo, like I needed to hear this today, because I've been going through. I'm here with you, man. I'm here with you. The thing that irritates me, though, specifically with relationships, is the weaponizing of a man's emotions. I'm going to say that again. The weaponizing of a man's emotions. Now, I'm not going through this currently. I'm not going through this at all, actually. But I have went through it before in various stages. Whether that be a romantic relationship, whether that be a family dynamic, whether that be amongst my friends, peers, colleagues, whatever. They wonder why us as black men don't open up, because the moment we do, it's used against us. Fellas, hear me clearly. It's an illusion. Do it anyway, because they're watching you more than you believe. They're actually afraid that the day that you actually do tear up, the day that you actually do get a little emotional and cry it out and, relieve yourself of whatever hurt, pain, animosity, resentment, anger that you feel, frustration, that on the opposite side of that is progress, it's growth, it's all of these wonderful things. All of it. Do you know that Jesus wept? Do you know that? I believe it was when Lazarus died. Even though Lazarus was raised from the dead, like he wept. And it's funny. So this is a quick sidebar. Me and my pops, we'd be watching different movies. At least that's always been our thing, watching different movies. So the movie Barbershop, I think it was Barbershop 2 actually, and one of the jokes that, dang, what was his name in it? Calvin. One of the jokes that Ice Cube's character Calvin had said in response to the lady who used to watch him. He was getting ready to eat some food, and she was like, make sure you pray over it first. He was like, all right, Jesus wept. And he was ready to eat. She was like, why? He was like, why what? Like, why did Jesus weep? He was like, because he was sad. Then she was like, why was he sad? He was like, he was sad because he didn't let him eat his biscuit. And then he just like went right into it. But then he like actually at the end provided the actual reason why Jesus wept. And it actually made her weep a little bit, made her tear up and cry, because there was a lesson in that. With this whole survivor's guilt thing, there's a lesson always to be learned in being a survivor of something. If you have survived anything, that means that you still have purpose. You have a reason to share what it is that you need to share. I am a survivor of Crohn's disease and having these ulcers and depression and, not completing suicide. Not to say that I actually tried to commit it, just thought about it, because the weight of the world was just so heavy. And it's not to say that I can't handle things, because trust me, I can handle a lot more than people may believe. Sometimes the world does get heavy though. And as it gets heavy, you have to take a step back and reflect and figure out what's supposed to serve you and what doesn't. A lot of times we often hear that God doesn't put more on us than we can bear? I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he will. And walk with me on this journey, on this part, because if he didn't put more on you than you can bear, would you ever go to him? Would you ever really just lock in with God and be like, Lord, I truly can't do this without you? Would you? That's a real question for you to ask yourself. I've been hearing that a lot lately. Listen, hang in there, stay focused, you got this. People telling me this. God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. Well, maybe sometimes the weight does get a little heavier, so that way you can call on him so that he can remove it for you. Now, that sounds a little backwards. You're like, well, why would God do something like that? Well, I mentioned earlier how he works in unconventional ways. God is not like a genie in a bottle where you ask for 3 wishes and he grants them to you. Anything that God gives you is for the betterment of you. But sometimes it may come with sometimes it may come with something that you didn't expect. For example, if you ask for patience, he may provide you with the patience that you're looking for, but it's unconditional. So an example of that would be, I ask Lord, provide me with more patience to deal with these things. And then within a day or an hour, whenever time frame, provide you with something or someone to irritate you, to push your buttons. Why is that? Because, like I always mention, the strength that you need for tomorrow, you're building today. The patience that you need for tomorrow, you're building today. Dealing with whatever it is that you're dealing with provides you with more patience. Think about when you're at work, especially those that are in the customer service realm. You develop more patience for clients or for the customers on the phone or in your face. The more you deal with them, the more you hear them out, the more that you just understand that they're not technically mad at you. They're mad at the situation. Which brings me to another point. Don't take everything personal. Don't take everything personal. And the reason why you shouldn't is because it ain't always about you. It ain't always about what you got going on or, what it is that you want to establish or want to get done. Sometimes people are just projecting and deflecting. Sometimes people project their deflections onto you. You got to look past it. I'll talk about that momentarily. I want to go back to earlier, I was talking about how Jesus wept. If Jesus, who I believe is God manifested in the flesh, walked this earth, Son of the living God, the whole 9. If while he was here, he wept, why won't you? Now, we're not saying that you should just weep everywhere and just anywhere. Control your emotions, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, control your emotions. But if you have those moments, like one that I had today, where things just, things in life just get heavy at times, and maybe you can't see your way out. Sometimes you just gotta faith your way out of things. And I've been telling y'all for a while now that faith is acting on what you've heard from God. Are you hearing from God the way that you should be? If not, we need to drown out that noise so that you can. See, that's the interesting thing about the devil. The devil knows that he only has but a short time to be able to provide you with the things that you need to be before you take off and do what you need to do. But please understand that it always gets harder before it gets better. Always. Tribulation always precedes elevation. Because the strength that you need to handle tomorrow, you get it today. When you reach the mountaintop of life, you're getting stronger in the valley. When you get to a point where you're running a marathon, successfully, you're in the gym or you're at the track doing the walking, doing the jogging, doing the running. You're putting in reps. Before any team gets to their championship, they was putting in stuff in the off season, in the preseason, the regular season, and then the postseason to get them to the championship. You putting in the work. And sometimes, again, there's this thing that we need to address that's called survivor's guilt, where we survive something that somebody next to us, somebody close to us, somebody that we love and care for didn't survive or couldn't survive. And then we have this level of guilt that's in our heart because we wanted them to come with us. We wanted them to be able to get to where it is that we're getting to. For me personally, for a long time, I used to have a fear of failure for a long time. And then I realized that in failure is success. The more times you fail, the better chance you have at succeeding. See, one yes can turn 1,000 no's over. Like one yes can be higher than any no that you've ever received. You just need somebody to just take a chance on you. I'll be honest with you. I no longer have a fear of failing. I actually have a slight fear of success. And the reason being is because I've had so many people over the years that I've known people have always told me that I was going to be doing great things and all this stuff. And I have. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful for it. I know there's levels that I can still tap into. But when I think of the totality of it, the more successful you become in every aspect of your life, that much more are you watched. That much more are you viewed. And then there's this part of you where you have to be mindful what you say, how you say it, when you say it, who you say it to, where you say it at, the whole nine. You have to be mindful of all of that. And it's not always easy to deal with. The Bible talks about how to whom much is given, much is required. With great power comes great responsibility. That's Uncle Ben from Spider-Man, in case you didn't know. You should watch that in your off time if you haven't seen it already. It's a really great movie. The original one with like Tobey Maguire in them, top tier. The other two Spider-Mans, Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland, also great in their own respective right. But yeah, there's a lot of gems in different places. And this whole survivor's guilt thing just really was like on my mind heavy. There's one thing that has been on my mind heavy. So a lot of people don't know this, and when you really know me, you understand like this statement that I'm about to make. Kendrick Lamar is literally one of my favorite hip hop artists of all time. But down the hill about that. I rock with Kendrick Lamar and a lot of his music. And he has an album called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. In fact, this specific album, in my opinion, is critically acclaimed but it's criticized like crazy because they're like, oh man, this album was boring and he wasn't really talking about much, like, and it's just like, no, you gotta peel those layers back like an onion. That whole album felt like therapy for me. That whole album, from beginning to end. He talked about, I think it's like 18 songs, and he divided it up into like 2 parts, as if for back in the day, for those of you who didn't know, they had like cassette tapes. They had not just cassette tapes, but they had like the vinyl joints where like it stops going on one side and you gotta flip the tape or you gotta flip the record and then you play the other side. It's a little history lesson for y'all. Like, some of y'all a little lazy. I mean, some of y'all not lazy. Some of y'all gotta like reach out and figure out where your roots come from. You'll have a greater appreciation for like streaming and all of this stuff now. That ain't how it used to be. Shout out to my pops. He got like a whole collection of like vinyls. And, that's when music was music. Not to say that this music ain't ain't great now, but it's just there's some substance missing. And I like Kendrick because I grew up on an era where like all I felt was like substance. Kendrick to me provides substance, and he got a few songs on this particular album that I just resonate with heavy. In fact, Kendrick's upbringing, his lifestyle, and like how he just wants to like just make his money, take care of his family, share his voice, and just keep it moving is literally my goal. I don't like a lot of people in my business naturally. I do share what I would like to, but like just thinking about this album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, he got quite a few songs where he talks about all type of things. He talks about any like mother or father issues that he may have had. He talks about the crown. Like he has a song called Crown where he says that he can't please everybody. He has a song. Pull it up on my phone actually. I'm not gonna actually play it because YouTube copyright. Not gonna be able to do it. You research it on your own time. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is the name of the album. The first song that he has is called United in Grief. And then in the song, he says that I grieve different. When the first time I heard that, I thought the exact same thing. I truly grieve differently than the average person. You got stuff like that. You got a song called We Cry Together. I'm gonna be honest with you. For those of you who have been in like really toxic relationships, listen to that carefully and take your time with that one. That one is pretty heavy. But then he has this one particular song called Count Me Out. Every single time I've heard it, I want to say 95 to 98% of the time I've teared up. Because it's resonated with me so tough. Like, I'm going to just pull up some of the lyrics. And the thing that I found so interesting about this song is like this is the halfway mark of the album. And it actually says Session 10, Breakthrough. Today, this is episode 10. And y'all witnessed a breakthrough that I had within myself. And this is why these tears flow. I'm not crying because I'm like sad per se. I'm really just grieving a side of me that I know I have to just put away. Across the board. And that may be people, places, things, whatever. But I'm grieving that because this next step, these next steps, this next journey that I'm about to embark on, it's going to be heavy in a good way. Like this is actually what I've been looking for. So I'm gonna just read like some of the lyrics that he said. So in this song, like as soon as the song starts, he like, one of these lives will make things right. With the wrongs I've done, that's one of you now. With the father, son, so then I fight. Rain on me, put the blame on me. Got guilt, got hurt, got shame on me. And then he like goes down. He talks about some other things like, what's fair when the hearts and the words don't reach? What's fair when the money don't take things back? It's rare when somebody take your dreams back. Then he says, this is when it starts getting heavy for me. You're like, I care too much, want to share too much, in my head too much. I shut down too. I ain't there too much. I'm a complex soul. They layered me up. Then broke me down to morality's dust. I lack in trust. Then he says, this time around, I trust myself. Please everybody else but myself. All else fails, I was myself. Outdone fear, outdone myself. This year, you better want yourself. Now, the part that really gets me every time is he say, look around, the reality's carved in lies. Wipe my ego, dodge my pride. Look myself in the mirror. Amityville, ain't seen none scarier. I've been thinking about that for a minute now. He said he fought like a pit bull terrier. Blood I shed could fill up aquariums. Tell all my angels carry him. Every emotion been deprived. Even my strong points couldn't survive. If I didn't learn to love myself, forgive myself 100 times. Dog, I love when you count me out. I've been counted out in my life for quite some time now. It's hard sometimes when people tell me that they're proud of me. It's just a personal tidbit. It's hard to tell when people like, when people say that they're like proud of me and everything, I there's a part of me that receives it well. And there's a part of me that's just be like, well, what are you proud of exactly? Are you just saying it just to say it, or what? Because I be having trust issues, you know? Again, y'all getting a for real inside scoop of who Austin G. Morgan is. But I'm doing this because y'all listening to me. And I can't just be providing, like, you know what I'm saying, like rainbows and unicorns and, you know, sunshine, all of that stuff all the time. No, sometimes it get cloudy. Sometimes it get cloudy this way. Sometimes it be raining. Sometimes it be thunderstorming. But can you keep going? Can you keep fighting through the process? So much so that in the end of that song, he has a part where he says, give me 1 second, y'all. Here we go. He gave the word regret, not a title, well, kind of like a title, but he says Miss Regrets. So he asks, or he says, like, you know, Miss Regrets, I believe that you done me wrong. Miss Regrets, can you please exit out my home? Miss Regret, I think I'm better off alone. And then he just talks about regret, and he got these deep regrets, some things he can't forget. Lord knows I tried my best. You said it's not my best. You, that can mean anything for any of y'all. But you said it's not my best. I came up out my flesh. Again, in our best state of mind, or in our best state, we are at least two people, flesh and spirit. So I came up out of my flesh. I came up out of my emotions. Some things I must confess. God is looking for us to confess to him everything that we got going on, so that way he can continue to provide us with what we need. One of the coldest things that my pastor said, he was like, God needs permission. There we go. God needs an admission from you. Well, he needs permission. Dang, how did my pastor say it? I know the last part. God needs permission for you to, like, confess and put your sins in remission. I'm going to figure out what that means, and I'm probably going to say it on the next episode, but if it don't come to me beforehand. But, like, when it comes to Christ, you got to accept him. You got to believe that he is who he is, but you also have to confess. Like, all of your sins, confess your faults one after another, and let him work on you. But he says here, some things I must confess. Spoke my truth, paid my debt. Can't you see I'm a wreck? He's talking to regret. Then he said, let me loose. Let me lose, I digress. Then he kept saying, this is me and I'm blessed. So in spite of everything that in this song Kendrick was going through, I'm assuming in therapy, I'm assuming just in his life, as he's journaling, as he's writing things down, as he's just sitting with himself, he's coming to this conclusion and realizing, like, this is me. I'm working on me, but this is me. I'm blessed. Still. The same thing applies to y'all. And just because I teared up and everything don't mean that it still ain't coming. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with God first, right? Stop playing with me, because I do know what I be talking about. And stop playing with you, because you got this. Get ready to wrap up. And again, this whole survivor's guilt thing, it's just allowed me to understand and to know that we all go through something, but we go through something to grow through it. There's a testimony on the side, on the other side of all of this. There's light at the end of the tunnel. There is all of these wonderful things. Will you decide to stay in the fight? Will you decide to keep pushing forward? Will you relieve yourself of the guilt that you may feel from being a survivor? Again, think about this. In 2020, we all, like most of the world, was hit with a pandemic. And somehow, some way, you're still here to hear it. Perspective. That's important. Some of you have lost family members a lot sooner than another family member has been around. Perspective. Why are they still here? There's a purpose that they still need to fulfill. The fact that you're still here, you still have purpose to fulfill. need you to hone in on that. Continue to lock in on that. To be completely honest with you, outside of God himself and my tribe and my village and my family, it is my purpose that is keeping me going. And when I say my purpose, I mean the ones listening to me right now, the ones watching me right now, the ones watching me right now. I don't know if y'all heard that, but it's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I told you, we giving like raw, authentic, transparent things. It's all good. All of these things matter. You can make it through survivor's guilt. I done been through some things that the average person would crumble and fall away from. And I'm pretty sure you have been through some things where that same principle applies. But will you stand the fight? Will you keep going? Will you get past this survivor's guilt? Will you? For those of you who witnessed these tears earlier in the episode, I'm not apologizing for it or anything. I mean, this is a part of me that that you just have to accept. You know, a lot of times we wear these masks. A lot of times we wear these emotions and these feelings like we suppress them. One of the things that God has been teaching me is to not suppress your emotions. Give them to me. I'll help you. Cast all your cares upon him, for he cares for us. That's Bible. Probably going to put it on the screen so that way you can reference it. I'm going to tell you what's even crazier. I didn't think that I was going to be able to get through this episode without like just crying all sporadically. I didn't think that I would. But to God be the glory that I have. And I wasn't. These cries and everything aren't scripted. I know a lot of things in this world now are fake. Everything that's on this podcast is real. Everything. Because I need y'all to feel this in your heart. I need y'all to sense this in your mind. I need you to really resonate with what it is that I'm sharing with you. If I'm going to be a leader, if I'm going to make this impact, if I'm going to influence the way that I'm looking to influence in a positive manner to help y'all get to y'all goals, y'all dreams, your aspirations, and the life that you're truly trying to manifest and make a reality, I got to show you every side of me. That's something I've been afraid of doing. Because, you know, there's this fear of being judged. But who cares? We all go through something in life. We all have tests that turn into our testimonies. We all have a mess, like some type of mess that over time or with age becomes your message. Let that be the fuel to continue to do everything that it is that you need to do. And understand that, once again, you can pass. You can get through this survivor's guilt. You can get through it. If I can, so can you. The survivor's guilt that I'm facing in this moment in my life is accepting that some things I just can't go for anymore. Some places I can't go to anymore. Some people I can't deal with or rock with anymore. That doesn't mean I love them any less. That just means in this next season I'm embarking on that they just are non-existent, or they're not as important as they once were. This is the last point that I'm going to make. The road to heaven feels a lot like hell. And the road to hell feels a lot like heaven. I'm going to say that one more time for those who be taking notes, because I know y'all do. The road to heaven feels a lot like hell. It's currently what I'm going through right now. That's how I know. The discernment lets me know that, you know, I'm heading in the right direction because of all the opposition, because of all the challenges, the obstacles, the hurdles, and all the things that I'm facing. And this specific season of my life is all purposeful. The devil knows how powerful I am. I'm learning how powerful I am. It's being revealed to me all the time. So again, the road to heaven feels a lot like hell, but the road to hell feels a lot like heaven. This time, I need you to, that's one thing I need you to think on and ponder on. Which road are you taking? Are you taking the stairway to heaven or the highway to hell? The choice is yours. And with that, family, it's been another episode of the Stay Focused podcast. Listen, I truly didn't think that I was going to be able to get through all of this. But again, to God be the glory. I hope that whatever it is that I said today, or something that I said, really resonated with you and really got you to a point to help you understand that it's okay to not be okay at times. I am completely fine. I'm good. Sometimes, you have moments, you have days where you just need to release. It just so happened that this was a day that I needed to release while recording. But I still have to show up because I know that y'all need me. I need me. I need to show up for this because this is purpose work. I'm gonna make sure that I rest. I'm gonna make sure that I do everything I need to do. I'm very, very intentional about the rest that I receive these days. I'm very intentional about it compared to days going by. But I felt that this was something that needed to be highlighted, especially with episode 10, because 10 is a covenant number. 10 is a number of like agreement, completion, all of that, and or breakthrough, if you will. Excuse me. And one thing that I'm realizing is that 2025 will be the last year for a lot of things for my life personally. Mark my words when I tell you this. We're gonna, like, as things unfold, I'm gonna continuously reference that part of this episode. But I'm coming out of agreement of a lot of things that weren't even given to me. They were passed down from previous generations. And I'm making a new agreement with Christ involved and knowing that everything is going to work out the way it needs to. Because God chose me. God called me. And now I got to make sure that I'm doing my part to lock in. And so we're going to do that. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be rough. It's going to be days where you want to quit. It's going to be days where you want to give up. My middle name should have been resilience. My middle name should have been perseverance. Because the way that I've persevered through life, the way that I've been resilient through the things that have tried to tear me down, it just means that God is with me. I trust God enough to be this vulnerable, to be this transparent, to be this authentic, because this is the conversation that we need to have. Are you okay with you? Do you know that God loves you in spite of you? Let that be the question for the homework that you do for like this upcoming week. And as always, my social media links will be in the description for those who actually read it and whatnot. But the last thing I want to point out is, as y'all know, I like to leave y'all with a Bible verse and or motivational quote of the week to keep you going for the rest of the week until we meet again. And this week, another Bible verse. This is Job chapter 1. I think it's verse 21. I gotta find where Job is real quick. I know it's in the Old Testament. Here we go. I know it's in the Old Testament. Job was a perfect and upright man. His story is actually very interesting. How God, allows certain things to happen to him just so that, God and the devil had a conversation about Job. And God allowed some things to allow the devil to do some things to Job. I believe I'm correct in saying that. But the point is, Job never lost faith. He never he never wavered in anything. He may have asked some questions or were concerned about some things because he lost a lot. I'm talking about wife, children, whole nine, land, all of that. But because he stayed true and faithful to God, God restored and doubled his portion across the board. So Job chapter 1, I think it's verse 21. It says here, and said, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord have taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. The part that I want specifically is, the Lord gave, the Lord gives, and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. There are some things that have been taken away from me in this season of my life. It's left me feeling uneasy. But I'm also at peace with it because I understand that what God is getting ready to provide me with is going to be far greater than what I've ever imagined. That's just how he works. Eyes have not seen, nor ear heard, nor what is the Bible verse? Eyes have not seen, nor ear heard nor has it entered the heart of man the things that God has prepared for them that love him. And when I think of that, that lets me know that I'm right where I need to be. That's it. I'm just right where I need to be. So, again, this episode was different for me. And even the outro is going to be different because, usually I'm pretty energized to, let y'all go on a peaceful note. But this week, I want y'all to keep me in prayer. Just for strength purposes. You know what I'm saying? Like resilience, to be able to keep doing all of this. When y'all comment, when y'all subscribe and all this stuff, like that actually helps me to keep doing this. Like when people reach out to me, actively tell me like, yo, like what you've been saying has been blessing me. Like, keep up the great work and all that stuff. Like that part feels great. At times I can boost myself up with no problem. And I know that God has told me that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made and all of that. But your support matters. And all I ask is that you just pray for me or keep me in prayer. The internals, though. I don't need anything like, monetarily and all like that. If you feel like giving, I might put something up on the screen or something like that. I don't know. But what I be looking for is like prayer for more wisdom, more knowledge, more understanding, more revelation, more discernment. Those are like the top 5 things that I always ask for because those things are the most important things to me. And I can't wait until God really shows up and shows out the way that I know that he will in this upcoming season. Because then we're going to celebrate. Then we're going to have an episode where I just talk about like how episode 10 of season 3 was a like a pin of like where he was going to go moving forward. This is not me entering a full dwelling. I'm just pitching a tent here. I had to pitch a tent here to drop this message off to y'all so that way we can keep moving forward. And again, family, it's been another episode of the Stay Focused podcast, where the goal is to keep you focused on becoming the best you while staying in faith. I'm your host, Austin G. Morgan. Be blessed, be encouraged. Remember that this thing called survivor's guilt can be alleviated, it can be broken down, and it can be released so that you would then have the freedom to do what it is that you need to do for purpose work. And as always, most importantly, stay focused. I'll talk to y'all soon.